Welcome back to Chicago Football Now's Draft Special presented by Subway. It seems like just yesterday that C.J. Fiedorowicz was a bright-eyed youngster growing up in Johnsburgh, Illinois. And it was just 12 months ago that he fulfilled a childhood dream, being picked for the NFL at the top of the third round by the Houston Texans. C.J. still comes home whenever he can, and we recently had a chance to visit with him back in Johnsburgh about what the whole draft experience is really like.
I wouldn't say that. In high school, I was ready to play in the NFL. Once I got to Iowa, I was homesick my freshman year. I was away from home, from a small town, and I remember my freshman year, I was even thinking about quitting. I was like, oh man, this is too hard. And then from there on out, after my sophomore year, I had a couple touchdowns. I had a good amount of reception. I was like, you know what? People are telling me I got the size, I got the speed. Going on into my junior year that summer, I started working real hard. From there on out, I just, changed my mindset and just kept going.
So it's Friday night. As I recall, you and your family were at a party at a bowling alley in Johnsburgh, is that right?
Yeah.
And the draft is going on. Are you following the draft? Are you just having fun with friends? Or?
Yeah, I'm just visiting with everybody. Everyone's, oh, where do you think it's going to be? Where do you think it's going to be? People can say you're going to go in this first, second round. You end up going in fifth, sixth round because it's whatever the team sees. And I just remember getting overwhelmed and going off to the side with my mom and kind of talking to her, saying, I don't even know what my reaction is going to be when I get drafted or if I get drafted. And it was a lot.
How did you find out? Were you watching on TV or did somebody come and tell you? How did you know you'd been drafted?
Rick Smith from the Texans actually called me. Mm-hmm. Someone was actually playing a joke on me like a couple picks before that, saying, oh, this is the Chicago Bears. Mike Evanson, actually, I remember exactly. He called me and he's like, hey, this is the Houston Texans. How's it going? And he's like, all right, we're going to call you right back. We're going to draft you. And I look up at the screen, and the Texans are like 3-4 picks away. So I had time to go to the TV and everyone to go watch. And I just remember the Texans select C.J. Fiedorowicz, and everyone just jumped up and down, went crazy. And
with the 65th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select C.J.
What happens immediately afterwards? Now you've been drafted. I'm sure you had a great party that night.
Yeah.
Maybe even the next day. It was a Friday night, so why not Saturday night?
Sure.
But then what? You go to Houston usually later that week, right?
Yeah, I was there within 4 or 5 days. Mm-hmm. You get there, you're immediately you're texting. 5 days later, boom, you're going. And then that whole month we did mini camps, better mini camps. And getting off, it was just crazy how fast it went. All right, now there's 2 things to learn from that video. First of all, 3 things. Great young man, great family. But you saw the jubilation, the joy of the draft process. You also have to realize the work never stops. What CJ was doing when we shot that interview a few weeks ago, he's already in training for the 2015 season. Getting drafted is the beginning. It is not the end. These kids are so excited right now, but then once you get drafted, it is a constant struggle to try and remain in the National Football League. The great thing about C.J. Fiedorowicz, one of our local NFL stars, is a great support group, great family, understands what it takes, and I would expect that CJ is going to have a pretty good sophomore year down in Houston as the Texans are starting to clear the way for more playing time for one of our local favorites.